Hello, gorgeous souls. It's so fabulous to be back on here. It's been ages actually since I've jumped in and done a live video, so really lovely to be here with you. I wanted to talk this morning about coping mechanisms. I was having a wonderful conversation with a beautiful lady yesterday, without actually understanding these, what actually happens is burnout, exhaustion will continue. So if you're experiencing brain fog, if you're experiencing exhaustion, feeling it's really, really hard to wake up and to get out of bed, or perhaps you're running an anxiety pattern where it's really difficult for you to get to sleep, and then you're waking at, between 1 and 3 a.m. in the morning. Certainly that was my burnout anxiety pattern when I was really, really exhausted and living within this anxious state as well. But a lot of that also obviously impacts so many other areas of our life where we feel less resilient, we feel more teary. Hey Tisha, great to have you on, darling. We experience, challenges in relationship. There's often withdrawal, wanting to shut down, withdrawing from social events. Like all of these things can really exacerbate a lot of burnout issues. But the two coping mechanisms that I want to talk about that actually really perpetuate burnout and can keep us blinded from actually what's going on. So that means that our symptoms actually get worse over time, and we can end up going into full-blown adrenal exhaustion, which is really, really terrifying. That's where it's super difficult to function. It's super difficult to actually do a couple of hours of work a day, or even cooking a meal, taking care of yourself can actually feel like so overwhelming. So we absolutely want to make sure that you don't get to that point at all. And the coping mechanisms is denial, and is also disassociation, and the two kind of go hand in hand a little bit, but the coping mechanism of denial is what many people would actually probably recognize as happy smiley face syndrome. So it's kind of like, we're waking up and we don't feel good inside, where we're feeling not great about ourselves, or perhaps we've got a lot of inner critic talk going on. That's also a symptom of burnout. But the other thing that actually can be going on with that then is that people check in with you and it's like, oh, how are you going today? Oh yeah, no, I'm good. Yep. No, everything's fine. Yep, it's all good. Hey Prue, great to have you on as well too, honey. Please let me know if this resonates for you, because I think particularly as women, like we can all have that propensity to be seen like we've got it all together, we're all okay, we're being the superwoman, we're just pushing through, we're always the ones that get things done or get it all together, or we take responsibility. Like all of those things keep you within that state of denial. And often we've used denial, and it's a pro-survival mechanism. Like all of these are coping mechanisms that were once pro-survival in our life, but it's actually no longer resourceful for us. Denial is actually a way of actually minimizing the impact that a situation or a circumstance has actually had on us when we've been in a powerless state to actually not leave that situation or not be able to change that situation. And often that can be as a child, or in another situation in our life, perhaps in a DV situation or anything like that, where you have felt absolutely powerless. So we deny how bad it really is. We kind of go, oh no, it's not so bad. Oh no, it'll be okay. We even do this with our jobs, right? Like I still remember literally curling up in the fetal position and bawling my eyes out every morning before actually going to work, because it was just, I felt so bullied by this particular manager at the time and absolutely hated it, but was kind of like going, no, this is just what I have to do. Like, I just have to, deal with it. It's fine. It'll be okay. Like that is all states of denial, right? As opposed to going, oh my God, we actually have a really big problem. This is actually not okay. And this is actually really detrimental to me and really impacting my well-being. And quite often, depending on the influences, obviously, of other people around us, if we feel that we need to perform, if we feel that we can't let others down, if we feel that we've got all that responsibility on our shoulders, we will be more inclined to deny, first and foremost, to others, but secondly, to ourselves. And this is where disassociation starts to kick in then, because disassociation is when we actually don't realize how exhausted we are. We've become so disassociated with our body, where it's kind of like we function from, the head up. We don't check in, and we become very numb to our feeling state. So we're not feeling our feelings, we're pushing that down, we're suppressing that. And again, you can see how denial and disassociation work hand in hand. Being disassociated, some symptoms of that can be feeling really scattered or feeling really aloof, or somebody's like, hey, what, where are you up to? And you kind of like feel a bit vague, or you don't feel grounded, or certainly don't feel grounded when you're driving a car, which of course is very dangerous if you've practiced a state of disassociation, or you're confused sometimes by your emotion. I don't know why I'm so angry. Or I don't know why I'm crying. I shouldn't be crying. All of those things come from denial and disassociation as a coping mechanism to deal with really difficult circumstances that we're not actually allowing ourselves to perceive the truth of, because we imagine that the dealing with the truth will be so much harder and will impact our lives. So the mind is always pro-survival. It's always trying to keep us safe. It's always trying to keep us protected and keep us alive. And so if the ego survival mind believes that actually seeing the truth of this experience will be absolutely detrimental to us, then what actually happens is, again, that denial will keep kicking in until it gets to a point. And so one of my mentors uses the feather brick Mack truck experience, where it's like, we get lots of feathers. But if we're in denial, disassociation, we'll either discard them, we will delete them, we will distort them, we won't even be aware that those feathers are showing. That's kind of like the aches in the body. That's like, gosh, I just don't feel like as good as I used to, or you'll notice a bit more negativity kind of coming in. Like all of those things are feathers. The bricks tend to be more like, I can't think properly, or, I'm losing my memory. I can't retain information like I used to, or my ability to be able to focus is now minimized. Like I'm procrastinating so much more. Like, what the hell's wrong with me? I just need to motivate myself. I just need to get on with things. And then, the Mack truck is the day where you wake up and you're like, oh crap, I can't get out of bed. Like I literally cannot get out of bed. Or we become so overwrought with emotions that are just literally exploding within our system because we've suppressed it, we've pushed it down, and we've become like a Coke can that's shaken up over time, where it's just like it's one more little tiny thing and next minute we've got the big explosion going on. This is where denial and disassociation is really playing out. And so if you like aren't in connection with, either your thirst, hey Beck, great to have you on as well, darling. If you're in disassociation around, your thirst, if you forget to eat, if you finally check in with yourself at the end of the day. And I've got to be mindful of this for myself as well, because during the day I might be super focused on my work and everything else. I get to the end of the day and I'm like, oh Jesus, I'm wiped. It's like all those things is really being mindful, checking in at various times during the day and really asking yourself, how do I actually really feel? And if you have trouble with your authentic voice, because a lot of the time when we've had this pattern going on, we will again invalidate ourselves, make ourselves wrong. No, it's fine. No, it's okay. I don't know why I'm so upset. Must just be hormones. And obviously hormonal imbalances can be huge with burnout as well. But we deny, we minimize, we invalidate ourselves so often. And that is actually what perpetuates the burnout, because it doesn't actually let us recognize what is the real stress here, what's actually really going on for me, and how do I actually really need to resolve this. And a lot of that is because of unhealed trauma. So until we actually heal the trauma around what's created denial, disassociation, all of those things, and really dive deep with that, then you will perpetuate these coping mechanisms continually until you get to a point where you are literally so burnt out that you're unable to function in life. And I've experienced burnout a few times myself. The last time was absolutely the worst that I've ever been, and I definitely was only able to function for a couple of hours a day. And it was absolutely probably the most terrifying experience of my life, in just feeling so uncertain of how long it was going to take to heal, how I was going to heal, like all of those things. And that's why I became so passionate about helping other women with this, because particularly the mental aspect of this is so debilitating. It can drive you literally into further burnout as well, with the negativity of the mind and how we berate ourselves and then beat ourselves up, particularly if you have attached your sense of worth your sense of value as a person to doing things, to helping people, to getting things done, to being successful, to all of those identities and roles that we play in life. If your value and worth is attached to those, it will smash you so hard with the mental and the emotional aspects of burnout as well. So absolutely getting support around this, having a mentor that's walked the path beforehand is absolutely critical, and healing the body mentally, emotionally, physically and spiritually. And like I mentioned, those unhealed traumas from the past that have created the denial and disassociation, because often if we've got disassociation going on, we also have very, very weak boundaries, meaning it's very difficult for us to either identify what our boundary is, meaning I'm not even aware of what is and isn't okay for me. So we let people walk all over us and then feel used and abused. And the other part of that then is also not being able to assert your boundaries, because how do you assert your boundaries if you A, don't know what they are, or B, you're so disassociated with what your experience is that you're not even recognizing that a boundary violation has occurred for you. So all of that is absolutely super, super important. So if any of this is landing for you or really resonating, hey Kayla, great to have you on too, darling. Please reach out to me, book in, let's jump on a call, see if and how I can help you. Because it's so important to recognize these things within ourselves and to be able to come back to a place of healing these around you, so that you can be more aware, more conscious, have healthy boundaries that really support you to live a really happy and joyous life, and to really have that sense of value, that sense of worth, and to be taking care of yourself, filling your own cup first and foremost before we're sharing our gifts and sharing all of our joy and health and well-being and everything with everyone else as well. It's so important to fill your own cup first. So if that resonates, please reach out, send me a PM, let's have a chat and see if and how I can help you, depending on where you're at in any of those stages with burnout as well. So have an amazing day. Lots of love.